Hello and welcome to the first English recording for Business English. I'll try to talk a little slower than what I do in class because I've noticed that the recording, I sometimes tend to speed up. It's probably because I don't have a student in front of me giving me feedback that they don't understand a word I'm saying. So I'm working out of the Communication Skills for Processing of Words book. It's the 5th edition. It's by Thompson, and the ISBN number is 0538-439-556. If you want to follow along, I'm in Unit 1, Chapter 1. We're going to be talking about commas today, which is everyone's all-time favorite. Okay, we're going to be talking about parenthetical expressions, appositives, additional explanatory expressions, and a direct address. First, we'll talk about parenthetical expressions. With a parenthetical expression is a word or a phrase that is not essential to the meaning or the grammatical correctness of a sentence. It can be set off by commas. When a parenthetical word or phrase occurs at the beginning of the sentence, of course it can't fit in but one comma, and if it's at the end of the sentence, we also can't fit in but one comma. So, only one comma is used in those cases. Let's take a look at some of our parenthetical words or phrases that are listed in your book. As a matter of fact, as a rule, as you know, besides, by the way, consequently. Once you start seeing these words in sentences, they'll start jumping out at you. I like to call parenthetical expressions drama queens because they add no grammatical correctness to the sentence, which means you don't have to have them in order for the sentence to be correct or complete, and they're not essential, which means that you can take them completely out and the sentence still means the same thing and still sounds correct. So let's try that with our first sentence. Unfortunately, the store is closed today. So what are we saying here? Let's find our true sentence. The true sentence is, the store is closed today. Unfortunately, it's the drama queen that sets a mood or tone for the sentence. It tells you that the writer thinks that that's unfortunate. If we take it out, is the sentence still correct? The store is closed today. Yes, it's still grammatically correct. Now let's see if it still means the same thing. The store is closed today. Yes, with or without it, store is closed. That means that this sets a mood or a tone. It just tells you that the writer thinks that that's unfortunate. Let's take a look at the next one. Eduardo is, in my opinion, the best writer. The sentence is, Eduardo is the best writer. The in my opinion, let's see if we can take it out. Eduardo is, in my opinion, the best writer, or Eduardo is the best writer. Eduardo is the best writer, still correct. But does it mean the same thing? Eduardo is the best writer. Yes, it means the same thing coming from the same writer. So they're just letting you know that that's their opinion. So in my opinion is a parenthetical expression in this case. What are some more? Let's see if we can think of, by the way. By the way, did you remember to bring your pen? Do you see it? The question is, did you remember to bring your pen? By the way is letting you know, oh, hey, I almost forgot to ask. It's letting you know the little bit of the drama about the writer. It's putting in feeling. So that's why we call them drama queens. Let's take a look at some more and see if we can find the parenthetical expressions here. With the president has decided to veto the bill nevertheless. What's our true sentence? The true sentence is the president has decided to veto the bill. Then we're left with nevertheless. Does nevertheless, if we take it completely out, does the president still veto the bill? Yes. Has still decided to veto the bill, and it's still grammatically correct. So I would set it off with commas, which would mean I put a comma before and after the parenthetical. When I try to put one after, there's a period already there, so I can't fit it in because a period trumps a comma. Let's take a look at the next one. Your work history, therefore, will be reviewed. Therefore is our parenthetical expression. Can we do without it and it still be complete and still say the same thing? Your work history will be reviewed. Yes, we can do without it completely. Therefore, it's set off with commas. It'll get one before and after. Now be careful when I say we can do without it completely. There's a lot of pieces of the sentence that you can do without completely, but it changes the sentence. So just because you can do without it and it be grammatically correct doesn't necessarily mean it's a parenthetical. You have to be able to do without it and it not change the meaning of the sentence. Make sense? Okay. Obviously, this parking meter is not working. Your sentence here is, this parking meter is not working. So, obviously is our parenthetical in question. Can we do without it and it still mean the same thing and still be grammatically correct? This parking meter is not working. Yes, obviously, just setting a little smart aleck tone, isn't it? Obviously, this parking meter is not working. You can just almost hear him say it. So it's definitely acting as a drama queen. It's setting a tone for the sentence. Your absence, as a matter of fact, was not even noticed. Do you guys see the parenthetical there? I'm going to slow down just a little bit because I realize I'm talking really fast. The parenthetical there is, as a matter of fact. Let's try the sentence without it and see if it still means the same thing. Your absence was not even noticed. It still means the same thing. And does it add any grammatical correctness to the sentence? No, it didn't, because we still have a grammatically correct sentence without it. So what is, as a matter of fact? It's a parenthetical. It's setting the tone for the sentence. You can almost, again, it sounds like they're being a little, as a matter of fact, we didn't even know you weren't here. So, sets a little bit of a tone. On the contrary, I do not agree with the judge's decision. So, we'll find our true sentence. I do not agree with the judge's decision. Does on the contrary change the sentence in a way that it doesn't mean the same thing as it did before? No, it does not. And it also does not add any grammatical correctness to the sentence. Therefore, we can do without on the contrary. So we would set it off. We'd put it before and after. When we try to put it before, we can't because the sentence hasn't even started yet. So we end up just putting it after there. Okay. Let's take a look at the next topic is appositives. What are appositives? Anybody know? I do. Appositives are a word or phrase that explains or describes the preceding noun. When an appositive is not essential to the meaning or the grammatical correctness of a sentence, it's set off with commas. When the appositive word or phrase occurs at the end of a sentence, only one comma is necessary. Can we ever have a appositive at the beginning of a sentence? The answer is no, because in order to be an appositive, it has to have a preceding noun, which means that a noun has to be directly in front of it in order for it to be an appositive anyway. So we can never have an appositive at the beginning of a sentence. We can have a noun and then an appositive, but never the appositive itself at the beginning of a sentence. Excuse me. Voice is acting up. Okay. Another thing about appositives is if we have them at the end of the sentence, of course, a period trumps a comma, so we can't fit them in. We try to set them off by commas. We will have a noun before the appositive, and the appositive itself will either describe or explain the noun directly in front of it. So a noun, a description of that noun. A noun, a description of that noun. That's how the appositive looks. in generic. Let's take a look at the sentence. Joe Mackey, a well-respected citizen of the city, has decided to run for public office. Joe Mackey equals a well-respected citizen of the city. These are interchangeable. This is a noun, and in fact, this is a noun clause. So we could change these. It's really just restating Joe Mackey. So it's an explanation or description of Joe Mackey. So this portion of the sentence is not needed. It's not necessary because we've already talked about Joe Mackey. So we can take it out. We will put commas before and after. Remember, we have to have a noun, description of that noun. Her new necklace, a pearl choker, was a gift. Her new necklace is our noun. What was her new necklace? Her new necklace was a pearl choker. We know because it says it right there. So we have the noun, description of that noun. So the description itself acts as the appositive, and it will get commas before and after it. A couple of things that you're looking for, because everybody messes up on this. First is the noun, and then is the description. Whatever is acting as the description, even if it's the name, whatever is acting as the description, that's the appositive. Okay? And it gets it before and after. Not just before and not just after. Before and after the appositive. Whenever you have the noun and then your description of that noun. And remember, these are interchangeable. So this sentence, Joe Mackey, a well-respected citizen of the city. This sentence, Joe Mackey is your noun and a well-respected citizen is your noun. But if we were to flip those and say our favorite well-respected citizen of the city, Joe Mackey, then guess what? Our noun would be our favorite well-respected citizen of the city, and Joe Mackey would be acting as our appositive. So he would be the one to get commas around him. Starting to make sense, or am I just muddying the water? Well, let's see. Take a look at some more. My uncle gave me my best Christmas gift, a set of toy trains. My uncle gave me my best Christmas gift. My best Christmas gift is a noun. My best Christmas gift is a set of toy trains. So that explains that noun. Whoa, this writing's getting crazy. So my commas go before and after because this is acting as my appositive. Okay. Let's take a look at the next one. I'm going to try to move my board so that... There we go. Our last vacation, 3 days in Nassau, was too short. Our last vacation equals 3 days in Nassau. So these are the same thing, right? What is our last vacation? Our last vacation was 3 days in Nassau. So we can tell that this is our noun and this is acting as our positive. So it would get it before and after. We have our noun, description of that noun. Noun, description of that noun. John Sanger Sargent, the portrait painter, is represented in this exhibit. So John Sanger Sargent equals the portrait painter. John Sanger Sargent is our noun. The portrait painter is a further description of that noun, so it is acting as our appositive. Jenny lives on the busiest street in town, Maple Avenue. The busiest street in town, Maple Avenue. The busiest street in town equals Maple Avenue. So, busiest street in town is our noun. Maple Avenue is our appositive. Starting to come together? Yay! Easy is good. It's getting easy. The company president, Leila Carney, advised Jim of his promotion. The company president is Leila Carney, and she advised Jim of his promotion. So, in this case, they have switched it. Our noun is the company president, and our appositive is the name, Leila Carney. So we have a noun, a description of that noun. The one that's acting as the description of the noun is the appositive, and it gets commas before and after. Now, before we go on, I want to run a couple of other things by you on appositives. For instance, if I say, my husband, Steve. According to your book, if I say my husband Steve is going to the store, according to your book, you would not put comma here or here, because when it is a one-word proper noun, they say it shows close enough relation that you would not put a comma before and after it. So it's not acting as a appositive. It's saying that it's just part of the original word. So if I just say my husband Steve, then it would not get a comma. It's because of a one-word proper noun. I know it's a mouthful, but that's what they call it, one-word proper noun. So make sure if you have my best friend Sarah, that you do not put commas around Sarah because it is a one-word proper noun. However, if I were to say my husband Steve Shaw, then I all of a sudden broke the close relation. That's not part of his name. You would put commas before and after. So if I'm saying my husband Steve Shaw, as soon as I add that last name, it's no longer a one-word proper noun, it's a two-word proper noun. So we would put commas after it because then Steve and Shaw would be acting as the positive. Okay? Another thing that you want to look for is if I tell you to go get the book, if I tell you go over to the bookshelf that we have in the classroom and get the book, and then I give you the name of the book. And let's just say the name of it is English Made Easy. Right? Oh, I'm going to capitalize it because it's a book. What am I thinking? Okay. Go get the book, English Made Easy. You walk over to the bookshelf and you get the book, English Made Easy. But the book is a noun. English Made Easy is a description of that noun. But look what happens if we try to take it out. If we try to take that out, you're just walking over there and getting the book. Do you know what book to get? Oh, no, you haven't got a clue. There are 1,000 books on that bookshelf. Well, maybe not 1,000, but either way, there's a lot of books on the bookshelf. And just by telling you the book, that's not enough information. If I were to say, get the book English Made Easy, then you would know what to get. In those types of situations, when you absolutely have to have this description, this further description, in order to know what you're talking about, it's not considered a positive. It's considered essential to the sentence. And we would not put commas around it. However, if I said, go get my favorite book, of course, how many favorites can I have? I can only have one favorite, and then it would all of a sudden become a positive again. It gets kind of crazy, I know, but it'll be easier and easier to find out. Let's take a look at these others that we've already done. My best Christmas gift. How many best Christmas gifts did they have? They can only have one. That's why they put that word in there. My best Christmas gift equals a set of toy trains. So we didn't know if they were to take best out, just a Christmas gift, maybe they only got one. We don't know what it is yet until you say a set of toy trains. So they put best in. We already know what they're talking about because there's only one best. And then they gave us a further description of something we already knew what they were talking about, or they already had in mind what they were talking about. Our last vacation, how many last vacations can you have? One. That's right. So when it said our last vacation, that made all of this unnecessary because they were already singling 3 days in Nassau. So this was additional information on top of the last vacation. John Sanker Sargent. Well, there they just come out and gave you his name. So we know who they're talking about before they tell us the portrait painter. So again, it's just extra information about the same person. Jenny lives on the busiest street in town. How many busiest streets can you have? You can only have one. I only have one busiest, only one slowest. So we already know they've generalized it enough because we only have one busiest street in town. This is extra information. It's just giving you the name of that busiest street. The president, or the company president. We already know who the company president is, and then they give a name to it. So this is acting as an appositive. Hope that helps some more. Let's move on to the next one. Additional explanatory expressions. I kind of think of additional explanatory expressions a lot like appositives because you already have a noun and they just give further description of that noun. For instance, you would have a noun, which would be a name, and then you'd have junior, and that would just tell you that there's a senior. Or you'd have senior, and they tell you there's a junior. If you have esquire, it tells you that they're a lawyer. PhD, it tells you that they hire a doctor. A DDS tells you they're a dentist, and a CPA tells you they're an accountant. Either way, it tells you more information about the preceding noun. So it will get commas before and after. Now, every time I have somebody take a test with these, and they seem so easy. You're like, okay, I see senior, before and after. Every time you see junior, before and after. But every time I grade a test, right there, that's the one everybody forgets. Oh, everyone usually puts that one, the one right there. But that one that follows, I don't know why. Don't let it be you, though, because that's the one that everybody forgets. So it's just like in a positive. If you put it here, you have to put it here. If you put it here, you have to put it here, because we're going to set it off. It's more information about that noun. Okay, let's take a look at some of the examples. Here we go. Joel Pincus, DDS. He's a dentist. Remember, before and after. The industrialist, William Todd Jr., spoke at the banquet honoring his father. The industrialist, William Todd Jr., here and here, just like in a positive. Set it off. John Good, Esquire, has fair understanding. Is fair in understanding. Here and here. If you put it here, have to put it here. Don't forget this one. That's the one everybody usually forgets. We just learned about Barney Forbes, PhD. Here and here. Don't forget after. Well, don't forget before either, but you get my point. That's the one that usually everybody forgets. Olivia Bala, MD. Oh, we have a doctor in the house. Ready? If you put it here, have to put it here. Don't forget after. Okay, some of the other things that it doesn't discuss on this PowerPoint video, but I do want to discuss with you that includes additional explanatory expressions, or that are included in additional explanatory expressions, are limited and incorporated. If you have a company and it says Johnson Inc., then if you put it here, you have to put it here. This is the one everyone always forgets. So remember those as well. Another thing that they discuss in this same portion is the dates and times. So let's take a look at some of those. See if I can pull up. It's not going to let me without stopping it. So let me see if I can get some dates and times here. So if I have Tuesday, April the 15th, 2010. I want to show you this. If it's in the sentence, say my sentence is, you're invited to a banquet on Tuesday, April 15th, 2010. Everyone well, is looking for you, but let's say that the sentence goes on. If I put it here, it's just like the appositive. If I put it here, I'm putting it here. If I put it here, I'm putting it here. Remember, the very last one is the one that everyone always forgets. So on dates, it'll be, if you're just having Tuesday, April 15th, this will be the one you forget. If you have the whole thing, this will be the one that everyone forgets. So be sure that that's not you. If you have just the month, I graduated in April, ooh, that's awful, 2010, then it's not necessary to use any commas. And another thing that's covered in here is city and state. I am from, trying to write a little neater. It's not going to work out too well, but there we go. If I put it here, then I put it here. Unless the sentence ends, of course, because period trumps a comma. So remember, if I say I'm headed to Charlotte, Tennessee this afternoon, here and here. The Tennessee acts somewhat as an appositive. Okay. There'll be some more examples of those in your book. If you would take a look at those and make sure that you understand them. If you don't, as always, I'd love for you to ask me about them. Now let's talk about direct address. A direct address is exactly what it says it is. It is when the person who the sentence is directed to is named in a sentence. Okay? So when you read a sentence, if you say, who's that sentence to? And your answer is left there laying in the sentence, that's how you know it was who it's to, then that tells you it's a direct address. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Your presence is requested Colleen. Who is that sentence directed to? Colleen. How do you know? Because right there it is. Colleen's right there. Anytime you say who's that sentence directed to and your answer is written in the sentence, then that means you've found a direct address. So the sentence is directed to Colleen. Her name is mentioned. So it will be set off with commas. We'll get before and after. So put one before, couldn't put one after because period trumps a comma. Let's take a look at the next one. I believe, sir, that you are correct. Who are they talking to? Talking to sir. It's generic, right? But it's still who they're talking to. So when they're directly addressing the sentence to sir, that just became their name. You just can't say, hey, you. Guess who they're talking to? You. That's right. I believe, sir, that you are correct. So here's who they're talking to. We'll get it before and after. So if I say, oh, tell me, Doc, will I make it? Then who's the sentence being directed to? That's right, Doc. And if that were the case, then Doc would get, if I were writing it, then Doc would get commas before and after. Okay? Let's take a look at some more examples of these. And you'll start to catch these, and these will be no problem to you. Let's take a look. Now, notice I said make sure the sentence is being directed towards them, because we might be talking about a doctor and not to a doctor. Did you know that the doctor told me that I have the flu? In that case, am I talking to the doctor? No. So I would not put it in commas. Mr. President, you are meeting with the President of Chile today. Who is the sentence directed to? Mr. President. How do you know? It's right there. Okay, it'll get before and after. The sentence hasn't started before, so I can't fit it in, so I'll put it after. The troops, Colonel, are waiting to be reviewed. Who are we talking to? Talking to the Colonel. How do you know it's the Colonel? Because it says it right there, right? So it'll get before and after. Sign your name on the dotted line, Aunt Jerry. Who are we talking to? We're talking to Aunt Jerry. How do you know? Right there. It says her, right? It says her name. I see her. Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. Yay, we're getting ready to go on a ride. Who are we talking to? Ladies and gentlemen. So we'll put our comma right there. Can't fit it here. Sentence hadn't begun. I just learned, Mrs. Fujiwara, that 3 members of your department are absent. Who are we talking to? That's right, Mrs. Fuji. So it'll get it before and after. Okay? Any questions on that? You be sure to let me know. But you'll usually be given some sort of indication that that's who you're talking to. You'll have, that's where you look for your names and you, things like that, that will indicate that the person you're talking to is mentioned in the sentence. Okay. Looks good. I hope that this helps. I plan to get a video of the exercise reviews, so that are the sentence exercises, so that we can go through those one at a time. But please, if you have watched both, or even if you haven't and you have questions, I'd like to encourage you to ask me for help on anything that you need help with, because I'd love to go over with this stuff with you. It can be a challenge sometimes, but it's nothing that we can't do. We can do this. Do it easy, right? We can do this. All right. Good luck with the rest of your sentences, and let me know if you need help.